Welcome to Let's Talk Wellness, where we will be sharing insights into the world of mental health and wellness as we explore traditional medicine and holistic healing options. It's time to have new conversations about mental health. Join Mara James, the founder and CEO of the Hugs for Life Healing Center, as she guides us along this journey. And now, let's talk wellness. And welcome to the very first episode of this amazing podcast, Let's Talk Wellness, with who is going to be your host, Mara James. Hi, Mara.
Hi, how you doing?
For today, you get to see me as well. I'm Keisha Clark, and I have a part in the production of this beautiful creation. But moving forward, Mara is going to be your host. And what we wanted to do for our premiere episode is really just give you a sense of what the heck we're going to be talking about, and really, what was this born out of? So Let's Talk Wellness is really about bridging through conversation the very many different types of modalities and philosophies and paradigms and parameters of wellness and what wellness can look like for each and every one of us. And Mara is one of the people who brought this beautiful creation into being. So we want to jump right in, and we're going to talk about some amazing foundation and organization that you can also be a part of and work with if you so choose. Primarily, we're here to give you information that you might not have already had. And we're also here to offer you maybe a different perspective of wellness and the different ways you can find wellness and achieve wellness for you and your family. So without further ado, Mara, so excited that you and your team had this little beautiful baby wave at you and say, bring me to the world. And so let's hear a little bit about you, about the foundation that kind of launched the program that this podcast is going to be the liaison of. Take it away, Mara James.
Thanks, Keisha, and welcome everybody. So I'm Mara, and I'll start 7 years ago. I was working for my husband, who's an OBGYN, and I was his office manager. And out of the blue, I experienced a manic episode and was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. I never experienced any challenges before that, maybe undiagnosed anxiety. So it was definitely a scary time in our lives, but it was also a beautiful time because it was a spiritual awakening. And what I always say to people, my story is crazy, but I'm not. So during this manic month of May, some scary things were happening. And at the end of the month, I knew I needed to be medicated. So I was heavily medicated. Thankfully, I wasn't put into the hospital. I was just stuck in bed at home. And I met with a psychiatrist, therapist, and I was also introduced to an amazing team of holistic healers, one at a time. And it's really these healers. The medication was great at helping me stabilize, but it was this team of healers that really helped me to be weaned off of my medication. And that's when my life transformed. And I always say that I went from medication to meditation. So when I was weaned off the medicine, I felt inspired to start a nonprofit called the Extraordinary Lives Foundation, otherwise known as ELF. And our mission is to improve children's mental health and wellness and support families. What I've learned throughout my healing process is that we all have a hurt inner child. And if we have the courage and take the first step in healing that inner child, it will really help us transform our own lives. And also, I saw that going through my own manic episode, having a mother who was bipolar, having a son who is now 22, who was diagnosed with Asperger's and ADHD at the age of 6, and a couple of other mental health challenges in my family. I saw that the greater the challenge, the greater the gift. And if we can help those removing the darkness and move away from the challenges and just let their gift shine through, we could live in a better world. So I also created this, thank you. I created this character called Piggy Bear, and Piggy Bear is an adorable character. I'll just share with you. And Build-A-Bear made the plush for us. And we have the book called The Power of Piggy Bear. And Piggy Bear helps to teach children and adults that it doesn't matter. Some people think Piggy Bear looks like a pig. Some people think Piggy Bear looks like a bear. And it doesn't matter what we look like because we're all amazing just the way we are. Piggy Bear teaches us to say empowering words like, I am amazing. So we have everybody open their arms out wide with the hands facing the sky, Keisha, and say, I am amazing. Okay. You're on mute.
I am amazing. I was muted.
Yeah, you are amazing. And don't forget how truly wonderful you are. We also have Piggy Bear teaches about how to identify different emotions and also do the power of the self-hug. Wrap your arms, if everyone can wrap their arms around their shoulders and feel how yummy this feels. And actually doing this for 20 seconds helps to fight sadness by releasing oxytocin. And Piggy Bear also teaches the power of deep belly breath, because we're always taught to take a deep breath, but we breathe into the chest, which can increase anxiety, whereas breathing into the belly calms the nervous system, which we all can use. But it's really challenging to do. So that's why we start teaching it to younger children. So in addition to, thank you. And so in addition to Piggy Bear, I've had this vision. I'm a visionary. I'm given these ideas and then work towards them. And I'm given a great team of people to do it. So I've given this idea of HUGS, which stands for healing, understanding, growth, and spirituality. And I'm so excited because now, I guess a silver lining of COVID is that thanks to COVID, that we're a virtual world and that this Hugs for Life Healing Center, the goal is to bridge the gap between medical professionals and accredited holistic healers, and bringing them together will be transformational. And really, it's profound. And being that most of our healers that I have personally worked with over the past several years work virtually, which is amazing. So there's no limitations. And so we're really excited just to get this whole thing started. I do envision having several healing centers throughout the US. And I always thought, like, how great would it be if we have a place called Camp Hugs and the children can go to day camp or overnight camp if they need it, and really making a fun and loving environment for growth, safety, and shelter, as opposed to, the hospitals are great. But however, I know a lot of people whose children have gone to the hospital, and the child and the adults all have PTSD. So how great if we could either prevent them from going to the hospital, or maybe if they went to the hospital once, to help them never to have to go back. So in addition to, of course, emotional challenges, there's physical challenges. There are several people out there, healers, that talk about when our bodies don't lie, and that our bodies actually give us messages to help us know what's going on in our mind. And I had sciatica in my hip, and it was profound that I found out that I thought it was just my third pregnancy and I never had it before. And I ended up finding out that I was holding fear in there, and to be able to release it and not have to have surgery or do this and that. And that my hip, after several years, and I did physical therapy and Ralphing and deep massage, but a lot of emotional release, and it's free. It feels amazing. Yeah.
So you've already downloaded so many beautiful, yummy pieces for us. And what I'd really like to do is unpack a little bit of this, because there's some profound pieces that I think probably are just normal for you for every day, but might not be something that's part of the language or part of the normal experience for some of our listeners. So your story is pretty amazing to begin with. I think a lot of us would have a real challenge with multiple diagnoses going on in the family. And talk a little bit about, did you, obviously there are lows and highs. We're not going to make light of that. For you, was there something that was really helpful to move through those challenging moments? Did you have an affirmation, or did you use something like music, or was there a go-to tool, or a few of them even, that you found to be really helpful for someone who might be in the middle of that kind of a moment right now?
Right. So for me personally, when I was first diagnosed and heavily medicated, I felt all alone and I had nothing. Lo and behold, though, as I started meeting with healers Hindsight's always 2020. I would realize like, wow, there's amazing like guided meditations. Like, when you're hearing negative self-talk, there's like meditations that can help you like close that channel and just, be more at peace. I learned that even taking, you've always heard about hot baths with Epsom salts, but I was told by healers that this Epsom salt actually draws toxins out of the body. So whenever people are having vaccines, I always tell them like either take a hot bath or soak your feet in hot Epsom salt for 20 minutes. And it's profound. I happen to not have any bathtubs in this house. So I just soak my feet in a hot tub of hot container of Epsom salt once a week. Definitely affirmations are so important, but in addition, people are doing meditation and yoga and affirmations. In addition to that, it's so important to actively work on healing, to know where those voices, that those disempowering voices come from. They all come from the past. One of my hypnotherapists told me that when you're in your mom's stomach, if you hear a voice, someone on the radio or the TV says, money doesn't grow on trees, that unborn baby, that could be they believe it. And that's what they go by. Their subconscious mind holds on to everything and anything, and so does the body. And it's so empowering to be able to go revisit these things and release them. Definitely some things that the subconscious mind protects us. And it took me 4 years of some deep healing to realize some traumas that I went through. And, thank God I was spiritual at that point, because I would have just have to remedicate, but I was able to handle it and know that no matter what happened to us, as traumatic as it was, it's all a story and it's all healable.
I love that. That is a really powerful thing right there. And this might be a great place for us just to clarify for everyone that we're sharing information and ideas based on experience that we've had and that our guest will having had. However, I might need to say that. I don't think I spoke correct English there, but I think you get the gist. So there is really, we're not offering in this series of conversations, we're not meaning for anything to take the place of a diagnosis or to make a diagnosis. We're really talking about the diagnoses that have been experienced and that are being treated by our participants, and the possibilities that we just want to bring to people, because not everybody really experiences the same diagnosis the same way. Would you say that is another piece of this too, Mara?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So really what we're offering is information. We're not trying to tell you what to do or how to have your healing experience, but we are absolutely desiring and striving to bring you more information for you to be empowered to have the most profound healing experience possible for you and your family. So let's, the question around multiple diagnoses in a family, are you seeing that increasing, or is that occurring more? Would you want to speak to that for a moment?
Sure. Well, of course, with the pandemic, they always say that after this pandemic, the next one is mental health. So absolutely, it could be hereditary, but also with what's going on right now, it's creating a lot more mental health challenges. What I personally haven't heard about people speaking about are these children. We know that there's a huge increase in children experiencing challenges, but what I don't hear people talking about is these gifted empathic children. And I hear people say like, oh, we want to teach empathy. Well, you can't teach somebody to be empathic. It's because it's a gift and a curse, but you're either born with it or you're not. And literally what it means to be empathic is that you or a child feels others' emotions. And again, if you don't know how to protect yourself from that, you'll feel things that aren't even yours and you don't know how to manage them. So for an example, if a child's at home and one of the parents is feeling anxious, and they don't even talk about it, they could be sitting there smiling, making breakfast for the child. But if they're stressed about, maybe they're, having an argument with somebody, or maybe they're scared that the child's going to get COVID, or, they're having their own issues, these children will feel it and they don't even know. It's not even theirs to feel. And it's so profound when we find this out and learn how to help the children. And I always say, in order to help children, the number one thing we need to do or get to do is put our oxygen mask on first and help us as parents. these children are being born differently and they are here to change the world. But it all starts with us. And I will tell you, with my gifted and challenging 22-year-old, if my husband was diagnosed with Asperger's and ADHD, if my husband and I didn't change, I am convinced he would have become bipolar. Because when I
Wow.
was when I was diagnosed, one of my healers was a Chinese acupuncturist. And she said to me that Eastern philosophy says that if you're diagnosed with bipolar disorder, 13 years or older, it means you have a strong resentment towards somebody. And I realized, oh my gosh, I was 48, my dad was 92, and I realized I've always resented him, but I just thought he got older and it hasn't gone away. But our minds and our bodies do not forget traumas. So yeah, this is something really important that definitely we see things happening over and over in families. And one of my other spiritual gurus / healers has taught me that we become like that which we resent. And so if a parent's an alcoholic and the child, people, would say that, oh, the child's going to be an alcoholic because it's a chemical imbalance. Well, if the child resents the parent for being an alcoholic, yes, they are going to become an alcoholic. But I believe, for me and many of clients that I've worked with, that by healing the heart, you change the brain chemistry, and it's profound. And this is something, I haven't gone out and done research on it, but I believe that there are physicians that have in the past. And there's just so many profound things that I'm so excited to share with you, because you all deserve to know things that I've learned and that my healers have learned. And also, I just want to say that if you have any topics that you'd like us to talk about, please log on to our website and send us a message. The website is www.elf, ELF as in Frank, empowers.org. And we would love to hear from you. We would love to bring our podcast to you based on any questions and concerns that you have. And we'll be meeting with medical professionals, approved, accredited holistic healers, and a whole array of amazing people.
Yes, we do have a beautiful party going on. And we can't wait for you to come play. I feel like this is a great space to talk a little bit about ELF, which is the Extraordinary Lives Foundation. You did mention it in some of your intro information, and I just want to give people a little more of the sense of that foundation, born out of much of your experience and inspiration from that. What is the Extraordinary Lives Foundation?
Okay, so we'll call it ELF, ELF for Extraordinary Lives Foundation. So when I had my manic episode, it happened to be in the month of May. And lo and behold, I found out after doing some research that May is National Mental Health Awareness Month. And I thought to myself, wow, why is it May honored and recognized and celebrated the same way that October is for breast cancer awareness? Because mental health affects each and every one of us, either directly or indirectly. And that's when I was inspired to start the foundation. And we started hosting these mental health awareness events, or high five-a-thons. We had these large sponge hands, and we would high five people at the event, saying high five for mental health, and bringing a very light, positive energy to a topic that hasn't been so light. In 2019, we worked with a few organizations and hosted mental health awareness events at all 5 Major League Baseball stadiums. We partnered with NAMI, which is National Alliance for Mental Illness in California. We partnered with Mental Health America, MHA in California, and Each Mind Matters. In the past, we've held some events. We have held one at Yankee Stadium and one at Braves Stadium during the game. Of course, in 2020, we were prohibited from doing anything there. And as we're approaching 2021, or in 2021, we're kind of figuring things out. So that's one of the things we do. We promote May as National Mental Health Awareness Month. Another thing we do is provide Piggy Bear, which is a tool for social emotional learning. So Piggy Bear will not only bring love and light into children, but will also help teach them tools that are so critical. We've been doing fundraisers and applying for grants to donate Piggy Bear books and plush, and we're waiting for the Piggy Bear Power cards to arrive. It's a deck of 44 adorable cards that helps to empower children emotionally and physically. And we donate these to children's hospitals, to foster children, military families, homeless shelters, a whole array. And it's just so profound. When we actually are able to go to events and we have the Piggy Bear mascot, it's so beautiful seeing these children's faces smile. And just hearing feedback from parents and grandparents of how Piggy Bears really help their children has been beautiful. And then the third part of the foundation now is this Hugs for Life Healing Center, which we're going and expanding day by day. And we are, doing background checks on the healers, and we vet them so that people know if they want to go get healing, how do they know that there's somebody that's valid and they can get a Hugs for Life seal of approval. So lots of amazing things.
Awesome. You have done an amazing job, you guys, because I know it's a team of people who are bringing this to the world, but just really amazing. And we're about to head to a short break, but I'm sure that there are some folks out there, maybe a couple of us other than me, who would love to know where can we, if we want to purchase a Piggy Bear, first of all, can we? And how would we do that? So do you want to direct folks to whichever URL that would be?
So we recently signed with Brown Books Publishing, and The Power of Piggy Bear was released in March, and the book is available on Amazon. You could just Google it, The Power of Piggy Bear. As well, right now, the plush and the Piggy Bear Power Cards are available from our website, which is elfempowers.org. However, in the near future, we're excited that Brown Books Publishing will also be fulfilling the plush and the Piggy Bear Power Cards. And we'll have in the future, we'll have more Piggy Bear products. We're working on a Piggy Bear app. We're working on the second book, Piggy Bear's Power of Happiness. And God willing, we'll have a Piggy Bear TV show.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Piggy Bear TV show. Yes.
Mr. Rogers incarnates in a Piggy Bear.
In Piggy Bear. Yes. So we have a lot of exciting things to look forward to with the Extraordinary Lives Foundation, or ELF, with Piggy Bear, and with the Hugs for Life Healing Center. It's also a learning center. We learn as we heal, I think. So let's take a quick break, and we're going to bring you some more just introductory information with the other half of today's podcast to kind of kick us off. And then coming up, we have many amazing healers and practitioners to share with you. So make a date with us each week if you want. The podcasts are going to be live on Saturday mornings in the States. So that's probably a little later in the day, and even Sunday mornings for some of you in other parts of the world. But however you do it, just start to practice making a date with us for Let's Talk Wellness. And we will be talking wellness and all things related to it. So for the moment, let's have a little breather, and we'll be back with more of Mara James and our premiere episode of Let's Talk Wellness. In these shifting and changing times, more and more lives are being impacted by mental health. The Extraordinary Lives Foundation, also known as ELF, is transforming the way people view and navigate mental health challenges. Their mission is to improve children's mental health and wellness and support families by providing educational tools, resources, and awareness events. ELF encourages families to recognize symptoms, overcome the stigma, and reach out for help. Through prevention, early intervention, and holistic treatment, we believe many of the big problems facing today's youth can be transformed within a generation. Extraordinary Lives Foundation is excited to offer the Hugs for Life Healing Center, growing a worldwide network of approved holistic healers and bridging the gap between traditional and complementary healing options. Visit the Extraordinary Lives Foundation website at www.elfempowers.org to find out more about their resources and events. Together, we can change the conversation around mental health. We hope that you're enjoying today's Let's Talk Wellness podcast. And if you have a topic that you would like us to explore, we would love to hear from you. Simply email us at info@elfempowers.org. That's info@elfempowers.org. And now, back to the show. welcome back and forward, as I like to say, to the premiere episode of Let's Talk Wellness with your host, who will be Mara James moving forward. We just wanted to interview her today as the opening episode and really the founder and the big cheerleader, one of the big cheerleaders for this process and progress and foundation, which is if you're just tuning in, if you're skipping around, as it were, we've been talking about ELF, the Extraordinary Lives Foundation, and really out of ELF, Hugs was born, and it's the Hugs for Life Healing Center, which is all about networking different practitioners to provide as resources for your community. Is that correct, Mara?
Yep.
Cool.
And yes, and we'll be virtual. Most people of the healers are virtual.
Yes.
Yep, just to help along the healing process.
So we can work all around the world. Wherever you are, there is a way to reach you. If there is an internet connection, it is entirely possible. And I love the hugs that we have. Each of those letters actually represents something. So I wanted to just take a few minutes and dive into that so people can kind of get a flavor of really all the different ways that we can play with this. So even though the word hugs, we might all have what we think of a hug is, but this is a little bit broader spectrum. So would you share with us what hugs stands for, and then what you guys play with in the Healing Center?
Absolutely. So hugs is HUGS. The H is for healing. So we guide people on their healing journey. The U is for understanding kind of what's going on with them. And the G is growth, to help them grow. And S is spirituality, because a lot of this has not a religious, but a spiritual basis. And helping people, what we do is help people remove the layers and the layers and the layers upon layers that's surrounding their heart and their soul, and just help, we guide people to remove their anger, their resentments, their fears, anxieties, shame, blame, guilt, as well as grief, pride, and so that they can just be left with this beautiful, loving heart and soul, and they can live a blissful life. And it's just profound. And I will tell you, though, it's not an easy process. As you all know, if you've ever sliced an onion, and my husband will tease me because I hate to cook, so I haven't sliced one, but I can imagine when you slice an onion and tear off the layers of the onion, tears fall. And as young children, when we go through things, we usually don't cry, and we feel like we're the cause for them. And so as we grow older, it's time to let those tears fall and just keep, removing the layers and becoming that beautiful, happy, love and light that we were all made to be.
Beautiful. And I love that you bring this combination together. As you said, people might not think of spirituality as a part of the process of healing because it supposedly deals with your body or with your mind or with your heart. We get used to compartmentalizing, right? So I think it's a beautifully, very well-rounded, my words, set of aspects that do all go into the healing journey that we can have. So has there been like a most fun thing as you guys have been getting the foundation going and getting the healing center up and running, connecting with your healers and networking with your practitioners and healers? Has there been like a most fun thing, and even Piggy Bear coming into the world, that you've had, or maybe two, because I know it's hard to pick one, in this journey so far? We want to share that with our listeners.
I love that question. So everything I do, I make fun. So really every part of it's been fun. I try to remove the stress out of it. And there's a saying, like, if you get nervous, focus on service. So I keep thinking in mind, like, we're doing a service to people, and just really having a lightness to it and a really fun attitude. And just, it's so much fun, like bringing Piggy Bear to these children and seeing the smiles on their face. It's so much fun. One of my favorite things to do is work. I work for free with different clients, and I do something that's called muscle test. It's like a muscle testing. Chiropractors do kinesiology where they push the arm and they get a yes no answer, and there are different ways to do it. So I work with the clients to get these and guiding them to who their higher self wants to work with, to help them on their healing journey. And to me, that is so profound. And, I know some people, sometimes I work with children or teens and they're a little nervous, but once they get on a Zoom call with me or meet in person, we just have fun together. And I make them giggle and laugh. And I leave it up to the healers if there's going to be any tears. But yeah, so everything really that we do, Keisha, is fun. Even today, I'm having fun. I hope you are too.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I've been so excited to help you guys bring this baby into the world. Oh my gosh. Yes. And I think fun, because for me, fun is one of my top three too, as well. If it's not fun, like it just doesn't, it doesn't hold my interest really. I love fun and I love learning. And I love sharing it with people when I find something out, it's just sort of an organic process. Is there something that has surprised you in this journey so far that you kind of maybe didn't even have it on your radar?
Well, this is funny. So when I'm going to talk about Piggy Bear. So during my manic episode that again, I had 7 years ago in May, will be 7 years. And so during my episode, I became obsessed with the stuffed pig. And I'm like, power the pig, pig's going to save the world. And my husband was horrified. And I would bring this stuffed animal to my daughter's travel softball games. And she's like, Mom, what's up with this pig? She was probably horrified too. And then my therapist was like, why are you obsessed with the pig? Like, I don't know, but isn't she adorable? And I said, and if an adult can hug her, then they lost their inner child. So lo and behold, and then I would wake up in the middle of the night during my episode and start writing. And this was so scary because I was a left-brained Excel spreadsheet person. I was not a writer. I always say numbers are my first language and English is my second. So these ideas, I would start writing and they would come through me. And I was like, where are they coming from? And the second night it happened, I wrote in large letters, like, I am not crazy. What was happening to me was, but I wasn't. So lo and behold, a year and a half later, once I was weaned off my medication and really inspired to start the foundation, I said to one of my healers, I feel this need to write something about this pig. And she says, it's going to be a children's book. And I had chills from head to toe. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, because I'm just a child at heart. And then I showed a woman I knew, Piggy. And I go, this is Piggy. She goes, oh, it looks more like a bear than a pig. And I thought, oh my goodness, thank you. And I didn't say that to her, but I said, we're going to call it Piggy Bear. So as I was playing with this and doing it, I had no idea where it was going. So it was just really surprising, I didn't come up with these ideas, came through me, right? I'm in yoga and we're doing the self-hug and I'm in yoga and learning about the deep belly breathing. And then just all this stuff with a judgment. And also I found out empowering words. And it's so important when we say, I am something, that we say a positive word, because the universe does not hear negativity. So if you say, I don't want to be fat, they hear, I want to be fat, and they help you become fat. So always say, I am positive words. So that's why Piggy Bear teaches I am amazing in the book, and so many other positive, I am in the power cards and future books. So it's so funny when we had the book that the Extraordinary Ladies Foundation board was into it and supporting it. And it was just like this funny little idea that is really growing into this beautiful character that's doing so much good in the world. And that has just been so surprising and shocking and fun.
Wow. That is an amazing story. I love things that come, we say they come out of left field, right? But that they just can show up when we are having our healing, when we're choosing just even that little bit more of us and for us, however that looks, that something so incredibly out of what we ever imagined that we would play with can actually show up for us to play with. And bring so much joy and learning and connecting and healing in the process, So I think I think Piggy Bear is beautiful. I think Piggy Bear's story is beautiful. And obviously Piggy Bear definitely wanted you to be part of the birthing team. And so you're doing such a beautiful job with that. And it's so awesome that it is also a way for children to make a connection, have a connection, and have a sort of a doorway or even a mentor, I guess we could say, into that positive, into that empowering, into the new ways to look at themselves and each other. So how does it get even more amazing?
Right. And you know
Truly.
what? We all feel alone. And
Absolutely.
this is where, like, for children to know that the piggy bear is always with them in their heart, wherever they go, is so profound.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There was another piece. I love what you say, your statement that I hear you often make, talking about what you're going through is crazy. You are not. What's happening is crazy. I am not.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that, because it caught my ear the first time you said it a while back. I was like, that's really awesome. Because for me personally, that's just something, when we can have those moments of clarifying that type of thing for ourselves, I feel like it helps us move gigantic steps toward our progress, you know. So where did that come out of something in particular? And
Yeah.
yeah, tell us a little bit more about that.
So I will just share quickly that I grew up in New York, in case you couldn't hear the accent. With a neurotic New York Jewish mother, I became a neurotic New York Jewish mother. All three of my wonderful kids have their own challenges because of me. Um, and though I was Jewish and had a bat mitzvah, I had no belief, no faith in anything outside of me. If I couldn't see it, touch it, taste it, smell it, I couldn't believe in it. And then I had this manic episode, and it was like the universe is like, hello, wake up. And my psychiatrist is like, are you having grandiose thoughts? I'm like, yeah, like this God thing or something out there is talking to me. I mean, I heard a voice say to me out loud, I saved your soul, and now you'll do what I say. And I knew that my soul was saved because I went from black to white overnight. However, and I'm just like, God, is that you? Like, it was just, yeah. And thankfully, I was very hesitant, but when I told that to my therapist, instead of him saying, you are really crazy, he said, do you think it was divine intervention? I'm like, absolutely. And when did you become spiritual? And, I was scared to take medication because I was scared it was going to close down my connection and my spirituality. However, at the end of the month, when 3 games of I was at GameStop, and 3 games with the word destiny started floating to me. And I just felt like I was going to throw up. And I said, I think it was in my head. I don't think I said it out loud. I'm like, God, I know this is my destiny. This is too much. I need medication. And that's where it all began. So, and definitely, like, during my episode, I was flying high. I never even heard of like Reiki healing. If you told me about it, I'd be like, whatever. So one of my first healers was actually a masseuse, and she came over, and I didn't even know that she was more than a masseuse and very intuitive and an energy healer. And she had her hands near my feet. And the first thing I thought to myself was like, wow, I have feet. So she was grounding me. So, and also my husband was horrified that I was going to have another episode. And I told him I will never, ever have another episode as I'm working on my healing and releasing and grounding. I knew I wouldn't. And I just asked the universe, I'm like, love talking to you and communicating, just keep it down. I mean, there was one day I said to my rabbi, I'm like, I think I'm crazy. I said, I get messages from the TV and the radio. And he says, God speaks to us in different ways. And I'm like, okay, roger that. And yeah, and it's just beautiful because knowing like there's a universe out there, and just there's so much love from like my mom in heaven. My mom and I never got along, rarely got along when she was alive, with her bipolar disorder. I mean, she could be loving, but when she wasn't medicated, she was nasty. And now we're like this because we get to connect. And I know that sounds out there and again crazy, but it's the truth and it's beautiful. And yeah, there's so many things that sometimes we're taught things that might not all be the truth. I always say that religions have all part of the truth, but spirituality is the truth. And it's so beautiful. And just, yeah, so
Yeah, I
that's
love that.
where, hearing and seeing things, I know it sounds crazy, trust me. When someone, like, when I work with friends and guiding them from fear into faith, because you can only have fear or faith. You can't have both. And to live in fear sucks. And I've lived in it for a long time, and now living probably 99% faith, and the universe keeps trying to test me, but living in that place is just so beautiful. And I just want to guide others to feel as good as I do and to be happy. And yeah.
Awesome. Wow. Just wow. And I love how what you were just sharing, it contained all four of those elements that we're going to be playing with on Let's Talk Wellness, in that hugs um, arena, if you will. And so much, this is just something that's kind of popping for me, is when it comes to healing, I think a lot of us adapt these ideas of things that sound crazy, that really aren't actually crazy. It's more of the norm, but we've just learned that that's crazy, So to really lean in, like you've been talking about with your experiences, to really lean into what is healing, what is here for me, what is meant for me to be and do and choose. That can be so scary and seem crazy, and yet that's where the gold is, so often. So I'm just so
Keisha, I would like to change the word. So when we say
okay.
crazy, instead of saying crazy, we're going to say crazy amazing. How great
Yes.
is that? Yeah.
I love that. Yes. I like crazy awesome. That's something I
Crazy
say
awesome,
often.
crazy amazing, crazy
Crazy
with
awesome,
another
crazy
positive
amazing.
word. Yeah.
Hashtag all of those because they're
Yeah.
really good to have. So awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, we're coming to our last few minutes of our premiere episode. This is so incredible. Thank you, first of all, Mara, for, again, just being willing to move through your experiences and choose into sharing what you were learning and what you were experiencing and all of the amazing information that has helped you in your journey. And then choosing into ELF, the Extraordinary Lives Foundation, and then choosing into Hugs, so that we can all be invited to more of that healing, growth, understanding, and spirituality that will empower us into more of our own journey. Thank
And
you.
Keisha, yeah, I just like to share also, it's sometimes I feel like my life is kind of just floating in front of me and I get to be a spectator. It's very exciting. But I was just actually appointed a position on the Orange County Mental Health Board, which is really exciting because
Awesome.
to help bring the different viewpoint to medicine and to mental health, and really not just to medicate it, but to heal it. So it's so
Yeah,
nice to know that there's a shift going on. And
that is beautiful
yeah.
and exciting. And yeah, it doesn't have to be scary. And it doesn't have to mean that anything is wrong with us. Yeah. It's just information, really. And we can make choices to change it in whatever way works for each of us. I think that's a beautiful part of the message I love most with this topic, this podcast, this where you're wanting to go with this. It gets to be choice. And you're planning to bring on some of the most incredible people to offer different ways, different methods, and different thought processes, different philosophies, for people to try on and play with and see what works and see what just might catch. So awesome, amazing, crazy awesome, crazy amazing. And if people want to play with us in between podcast episodes, again, you can find us at elfempowers.org. That's ELF for Extraordinary Lives Foundation. Empowers, because we love that word, .org. And is there, I believe there's currently, if people want to look at the Hugs Healing Center, there is information on that website as well. So I think it even comes up on the homepage.
Yeah. And if someone wants to become a client and doesn't cost anything, they can go, there's paperwork they could fill out. They could have a free intake session with me and we get to look into some things and play together. And I just want to encourage you all to just I want to encourage you to take the first step, and you'll never be sorry that you did.
Beautifully said. And that is a perfect place for us to complete today. Thank you so much. And thank all of you for joining us, whether you're listening or watching or both. We hope you'll come play more. If you have questions, please let us know. There's a way to do that on the website, as Mara said earlier, elfempowers.org. And we will see you next week for the next episode of Let's Talk Wellness.
Don't forget, everybody. You all, you are amazing.
Yay! Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Let's Talk Wellness. This podcast has been brought to you by the Hugs for Life Healing Center, a division of the Extraordinary Lives Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. If you would like to listen to more conversations like this, we invite you to subscribe to our mailing list at www.elfempowers.org to be notified when our weekly episodes are published. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to bringing you our next conversation on Let's Talk Wellness.